fun begins.
Cut it right at the loudest sound.
You're like, your thing.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boom, 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 boom.
Borrow that microphone for a second.
Hello there, Kyle Katarn here.
I'm the Bendu.
Coming back for another episode
I
of
think
Dork
one of
Forces,
the
the podcast. We're a couple episodes. We've been gone for a little while. We took the last 2 weeks off, didn't we?
Was it 2 in a row? I don't feel like it was 2 in a row.
Feels like it was
but
2 in a row,
but there was a lot. There was. We needed to catch up energy wise, but I feel like we're also lagging here a little bit. But anyway, yes, I love that. Some of those George Lucas sounds, just like I feel like I wish I could have those as a text message alert or like a ringtone or something.
God, I know, right?
But,
well, hey, we live in the information age.
yeah.
Such a thing is possible now. You can make it happen on your computer. Hello there.
If I had one.
Hello there.
But yes, now like paying more attention also to our new intro. Like the slow rising gonk just like kills me almost every time. It's just too.
It was. Yeah, man. We
Sure.
started it off as like a placeholder for something cooler that we were going to come up with later, but now I really love it. It's so dumb, but I think it's on brand for us.
It's
honestly.
so Stomper also. Like it's completely within his character to like
He does. He lurks.
stealthily
He
and
lurks.
non-stealthily photobomb like that. Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
But yes,
that's
so
awesome.
but there's a lot to talk about. There's a few weeks since Jedi Survivor has come out, so we are going to talk about that a little bit.
We're
I
going
don't
to
know
talk
shit
about
about
it a little
Jedi Survivor, so
bit. Bendu doesn't know everything.
info,
Yeah. Nope. And he's
which is totally fine because,
Crazy.
like, for me, it's the journey. I don't get destroyed by spoilers.
sure.
For me,
For you, it's more
the
about how
enjoyment.
putting them together.
Exactly. Speaking of putting fucking pieces together, oh my god. So instead of watching the cinematics for Jedi Survivor, I did binge watch Haunting of Hill House. Oh my god. Like, have you seen
Haven't
that
seen
one
it.
on Netflix?
That's the first season. Second one's
man.
Bly Manor, right? Same series.
It's the same writer, yeah. And he's also the
Okay.
same writer who did Midnight Mass.
Okay.
But oh god, so like kind of the way that Midnight Mass goes between different periods of time, like
Mhm.
this thing was just like all over the fucking place, and like memories and like character episodes were just bleeding into each other. It was just like so hard to focus, but like the storytelling though was just like so fucking on point. But yes,
For the record,
yes.
I turned
Shatterpoint-
you on to Midnight Mass.
Shatterpoint, huh?
I was gonna say, just for the record, I
What?
turned you on to Midnight Mass in the first place, and now
This
you've
is true. This is very true.
gone down the rabbit hole
100%.
of Mike Flanagan, and I love it.
Of the ethical differences of what makes a vampire an angel and what, like, first, yeah, no, where that'll be a whole different discussion of like, how could you look at this thing and possibly think that it's good? Oh, but you're just gonna, I don't know, just self-justify it somehow.
I mean, because
But
I don't know,
anyway,
the
so
same way
yes.
that superstitions gets planted, like what the Bene Gesserit do in Dune, you know, they've been planting the signs, and so when the people see them, they see the signs and they believe it to be what they've been indoctrinated to believe in their religion versus what they're actually looking at with their real eyes. Is like, this is obviously a demon, you know? Yeah, no. Conversation for another time, because clearly we both have a lot to say about that. But I'm really glad that you liked it. I have not watched Hill House yet. I'm going to check that out next. I thought Bly Manor was excellent, though. I loved Bly Manor. But yeah, a whole bunch of
Really?
Star Wars
Okay.
stuff
See, now I
happened.
have to watch it. 'Cause I saw. Yeah. So some of which I do know about, some of which I don't. But yeah, do you want to get back into the news and the rumors before we get into the Survivor and the Shatterpoint?
Yes. We'll start with what's going on, like what kind of things are happening of the moment, and then we'll kind of settle into talking about Jedi Survivor and start with Shatterpoint as well. That's a good idea. So I guess the big announcement of the week is, well, you know what? We should start with the most important thing really that happened. That is that legendary actor Ray Stevenson passed away earlier this week, which is very sad.
Out of
Very
nowhere.
sad.
Yeah, we were
It's
super
not clear
excited.
what happened. He was only like 58. He was not an old man. You know, that's not old anymore. He was in the middle of filming a movie as well. I don't think he took ill or anything, but I didn't really realize how many of his roles I had watched and really, really appreciated until I saw them all next to each other, like in an article talking about him. He was one of those actors that was just like, he was so different from role to role, you know, like he really put himself completely in there, and he gave the most, like, I don't know, his performances, he just sort of commanded your attention every time he was on the screen.
Characters.
Even when he was doing voicing characters like Gar Saxon and Rebels, like he just like demanded your attention when you heard that.
Fuck, I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, man, he was Gar Saxon in Rebels. He was the main villain in RRR, which came out like a couple years ago. That's a hysterical movie. He's going to be Balon in the upcoming Ahsoka, which I was already looking forward to, but now it's kind of got this bittersweet extra element of like it's the goodbye to this actor. It's the final thing I think that he's appearing in, unless it turns out he was in fact filming something at the time of his death, and then there'll be something else down the road. Unless that doesn't get finished, who knows?
But more so,
yeah,
the
very
character
sad.
survives Ahsoka season 1, or if we really like the character, they're gonna have to write something or do something about it to, you know, explain an exiting. But no, I didn't realize he played Volstagg in the Thor movies as well. Like, there's a couple, definitely a couple things I had no idea that it was the same dude. But he plays like so many ensemble characters, which is really. But he, like you were saying, he puts his whole self in each different character he does. 100%. So it's like it's not like him playing a different role. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. And yes, one of those actors that just like has that chameleon quality where like if you give 110% of your own personality and like you let yourself be absorbed by every role that you take, like just I couldn't recognize him from one to the next, you know, until I saw that face next to each other in a row of photos. And I think that is truly, you know, masterful character acting when you are able to transform so completely like that. And it's not just how they dressed him in his costumes, it's the way he carried himself, it's the way he spoke, it's the we lost a great actor. We really did. May he rest in peace. It's gonna be a weird emotional experience now, watching Ahsoka in August. But that is only one of the things that happened in the last week or two in the Star Wars world. We also got an official announcement from the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel. They are closing their doors.
Oh yeah.
They're closing up shop after just what is it, like 9 months?
Shooketh.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I thought that it was just gonna keep going and just be a money pit, but they were like they admitted defeat so fast. They spent so much money building the thing, and I think they had what, like a couple, like 60,000 people attended it over the course of those months that it was in operation. But I guess it wasn't enough. I guess it wasn't enough
for like what, $2,000 a day, or like 20,000. It was like I think pretty sure it was like $2,000 a day. Was
it shook out to something like $1,200 per person per night. It was like a $5,000 for a family or something.
It was
something. It was outside of my budget at the point that I didn't look too closely into it because I knew I was not going to be able to pay that no matter what. But
and like even the picture scene, like it wasn't even worth it. You know, there was nothing too particularly special about the thing, but you know, rest in peace to Galactic Star Cruiser, I suppose. I see that's true. I see the chat. Some people are like, "Yeah, it was $5,000, one way out, one way out." It's true, man. Like, like shout out to Andor. I don't know who did it first. If Andor shot their prison scenes before they built Galactic Star Cruiser,
I'm sure it was an unintentional coincidence that they had the exact same color.
As soon as Andor came out, they really should. I don't know. They were so close to greatness. They were so close.
Speaking of Andor,
but there were too many fuck ups. There were too many obvious fuck ups that they made that it's just like I'm not surprised. The Andor prison is shutting down. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Andor, Tony Gilroy was in some pretty hot water for crossing picket lines during the Writers Guild of America strike that's going on right now, working on season 2 of Andor. But he has since made a statement saying that he has ceased all non-producer duties, including writing and non-writing, and he is, he's holding strong with supporting the strike. So he was kind of in trouble for a minute there. It's all blown over since, and it sounds like Tony Gilroy is not crossing the lines anymore. Season 2 is delayed, though, and honestly, that is fine because, if that's what it takes to get the writers fair compensation, then so be it. Our entertainment is less important than people's livelihoods.
Same with Marvel. Same
that
with
is the
Star
position
Wars,
of the podcast.
NBC. Yeah.
But going back to the Star Cruiser, I wanted to send it off really quick before we switch topics and dive more into Tony Gilroy and the writers with this touching little video that I found.
Ready?
Chewie.
This ship is now under the command of the First Order.
Live your Star Wars story in a new 2-night adventure.
You know what I've come for.
Yeah, they really did build hype. They built some massive hype
so
for that
fucking
thing.
hilarious. Yeah, they did.
Honestly,
Half
it
of that
looks
footage
cool.
was from Galaxy's Edge anyway. It was just like
It looks so cool.
I
was hyped for
I was
something-
never
not
I
the
was
first
never
trailer,
part of
not
it.
the first
yeah,
trailer.
okay, fine. It looked cool.
The first trailer
But,
did
it looked
not
cool,
look cool.
but again, half of that shit
That
wasn't
one did.
real.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, the thing is, the experience itself
Yeah.
does sound awesome. And all of the people that I have heard from that did go and have the experience said they had a great time. So, all of the criticisms that we are making from on the outside,
$5,000 worth
there are
of
no
a good
windows,
time,
the
though?
rooms look cramped, all these things that are valid criticisms, we haven't been there and we haven't actually experienced it. And the people who did experience it said that it was great. However, a lot of people that originally did the reviews and did the little vlogs for it had an all expenses paid trip out there to review it. And I have to say that not having to spend $5,000 definitely changes how you view an experience that you have. If you're not like, I'm going to be totally broke after this, so it better be worth it, versus, oh yeah, I'm just doing this just cause, and then I go back and I have rent for next month. So take it with a grain of salt for that reason too. But I was hyped. I was totally hyped. They kind of sucked you in with Chewie, except that then you learn that the activity is you can turn him in to the First Order. I don't oh man, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want my kids to do that.
But it's is that real though? Can you actually do that? Or again, I don't know. It's not always clear what characters come in Disney hotels or Disney dining. Usually they'll tell you what characters are included with each experience, but yeah, I don't know. It wasn't, I'd rather spend that money in park or actually doing Disneyland stuff.
Right.
Than being in the hotel.
So there are people out there that feel like this was outrageously priced and that's why no one attended, which I do agree with that. I do agree with that. But there's also a group of people out there saying that this is kind of what the price is for a luxury boutique experience, whether it's a cruise or like something like that, and the price was actually fair. Disney just kind of misjudged the demographic and how much people were really willing to spend for like a Star Wars experience. I don't know. I don't think it was worth the price, honestly.
I don't think it was worth the price. The rooms didn't offer Disney Plus. It was just like regular like hotel TVs. So it wasn't even like they were playing Clone Wars or like,
not like you could, yeah, you can't even watch Star Wars while you're there. That's
sort of deal.
not
Yeah. Yeah. And then like it would bother me after a while not having even if the like I get that the windows don't exist or there's no windows for you to see like the outside world, but they should still be able to offer you like fake changeable windows. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to like look out your window and see like fucking Endor forest.
Yeah,
or
no,
you should
totally.
be able
They
to
should
look
have
out
like
your
fake
window
screen
and
windows, and you can dial it in.
Yes, like see the moons of Mustafar.
That would be so cool.
Or like, yeah, if you'd be able to like make the artificial environment sort of a deal. But
I have
it was
to believe
just
that this was explored and deemed cost ineffective or something, because that seems so obvious. That's such an obvious thing to do, is give us space windows or like outer planets windows, and they get just like just blank wall. Just imagine the space. Imagine the outer space, kids. It'll be fine. No, I think it was a good idea on paper, but the execution left a lot to be desired. And then they charged for the experience of what they had on paper rather than for what they'd actually constructed. I think they needed to take stock of what they had actually built and be like, you know what, this is not worth as much as we're charging. It would be worth about this much. And then maybe it would still be around, you know? Yeah, there you go. $2 spotchka for happy hour. That'll bring the crowds to come see Gaia. And I'm sure that all of the cast members that got to work at the Star Cruiser are going to have really fond memories of just being part of the Star Wars experience. And I'm sure there's a lot of legitimately upset and disappointed people that the Star Cruiser is going away.
It's true.
But I never got a chance to be one of them because I simply don't have the cash, you know.
It was a missed opportunity.
A lot of people feel that way. It was a missed opportunity. Sorry, you froze. What did you say?
I see in the chat a couple of people are like, if they didn't even have a pool. I mean, okay, so if we're going space pools, I don't know if you all saw, I forget what that movie was where it was Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, and they were
on the ship.
Oh, it was called Passengers. That's
I remember that movie.
Bro. Yeah. When the gravity in the space turned off, and then the fucking pool became just like a giant puddle or like a giant bubble, like the opera in Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, bro, that would be kind of cool, swimming in a space.
I do remember that.
Swimming in a space pool. But yeah. Certain things like that, like kids' hotel, or like be something like that, and not even offer something as simple as a swimming pool for like the kids who want to swim, unless you're like blasting your air conditioning like super high the entire time because they're like, oh, it's space and so it should be cold. Why would you want to go swimming in cold space?
Maybe I'm in the minority, but I don't want to be in a public pool with other random strangers. I just don't want to share water.
Well, as an adult,
I just don't want to share water with dirty ass people from the general public that I don't know, you know, and that at Disneyland, 300% more applies because everyone goes to Disneyland and so many people come through there on a daily basis. Like things aren't as sterilized as you think they might be, like sanitized, you know.
No. There's also pools.
I don't need a pool in my like vacation experience. Yeah. But you know, if you're a pool guy, that's fine. But that doesn't make or break it for me. Because I'm kind of scared of pools. Thank you, Terry.
Kind of scared of pools. That's fair. Well, you can swim in my pool. My pool
indoor
is
pool
nice and clean. And
an indoor pool. Well, yes, if you got like your own pool, but that's not a public pool. That's what I'm saying. If it's a public space, I'm probably not going to go into it. But yeah, no, I want to. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to coming to Arizona, checking that out. It's going to be hot when I get there. An indoor I think Star Wars flora and fauna could be cool. You could dress it up like Dagobah, pretend you're in the swamp with the thing that almost ate R2.
dude. Or even if you just had like Felucian plants, you know,
That
or
would be
just
cool.
like
That could be cool.
right.
I would go on like a Star Wars ride where you're like on the boat going through the river, you know, like it's a small world kind of thing. Of like some planet, like
you
you
get to
could be
see the
going through
different
the
Star Wars planets.
planet core, you know, you could have like Sandawako monster comes out of the water and like an animatronic Gungan
Fucking
doing a flip
hilarious.
over the boat and splashing in the water, gets everybody all wet. It'd be great.
Yeah,
Private back to
singing
spot.
the Emperor's.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, Writers Guild wise, I have always been on board with people being rewarded and paid what they needed, and
Yes.
at the same time too, this expansion of time hopefully just gives those stories more time to percolate, you know.
Mhm.
And the longer the time, the better the story. I'm hoping that's my hope, at least, because we've seen what happens when stories get rushed. And
I
how
don't
much of a
think
shit
season
show
2 is going to be like bad. I just think it's going to be somewhat less polished and maybe a little bit more hastily put together because of the strike. But it might not be bad overall, you know. These are still talented people making a very well crafted show, and it might just be the schedule that gets messed up, you know.
Because in the next couple months, Secret Empire or Secret Invasion is supposed to be coming out. Next few months, Loki season 2 is supposed to be coming out. Ahsoka comes out. Ahsoka comes out in August, which is going to be fucking phenomenal. So
Most likely, potentially delayed to September.
Delayed to September. Okay.
Potentially.
Either way, so like for August, like you and Hera come down to Arizona for a weekend. We go to Galaxy's Edge. We drive there, drive back, and we watch an episode of Ahsoka down here.
We were actually talking about that earlier today, and we might want to do it in July because we're setting up a Discord meetup for Galaxy's Edge as well, and we should all try and converge all of these things into one. So we got some planning.
Oh
to do.
Yeah,
we got to figure out how to get down to Galaxy's
that'd be even easier or sooner. Like if you guys,
perfect.
Yeah.
Boom.
Because you guys can, we have the
Scott, Connie. I know you guys are watching. We've got a plan now.
Yeah, we have the extra room. I really want to build my fucking lightsaber, bro. Like I've been so getting to Shatterpoint. I even Google image because I think it was Rayanne. I see you, Rayanne, fucking Discord meetup. But yeah, so she posted like a Instagram post about like because she got one of the new defense and protection lightsabers. It was very New Republic or High Republic. It's very High Republic lightsaber looking hilt. So
you can get some very
I did see the new stuff
now.
I did see the new Sith hilts in at the sabers. I saw that they all have little spikes, so you can literally make your lightsaber look like Exar Kun if you really wanted to. But bro,
I want the really brutalist, like blocky. All the hilt parts that I wanted were out of stock when I built my saber, but I didn't know you could just go to Savi's and buy a bunch of extras. So that's what I'm going to be doing when we go.
No. I'm saying I Google image like what the parts from Savi's look like because I guess
good. So you've done your research ahead of time.
Yeah, because I wanted to know. I wanted to know how to build my shit because I also want to have a white blade or a silver blade. So I'm going to preemptively have to buy my crystal also before going into Savi's workshop. Kind of like what you had to do with your purple. You had to do with your purple.
I'm busting out right now. Here's my Galaxy's Edge saber right here.
That's your apprentice saber.
It's my apprentice saber. This is made of all of my second choices because every single first choice component that I wanted was unavailable at the time. I don't remember which one.
So when we go back, and make the second one, are you going to take your purple crystal out of that hilt, put the original red one in there, and then put your purple one in your new saber?
You see, I'm like Palpatine. I've got the purple crystal in this always. So if I turn the blade on, I'm good to go. But the red crystal is never far away. It's always tucked away in secret somewhere near where I am. Just like Palpatine stashing his shit in the statue so he can just whoosh, when he needs it. I've got this. So if I ever need to bleed the purple crystal in a hurry, good to go. Got a little red one in here.
But I mean, but when you build your second one, though, is it going to be a purple one also, or is it going to be a red one?
I already have purple and I already have red, so I feel like it would make sense to get another color and a red. It might just live as a red one, and then I'll pick up a second color as just so that I can have another color choice. Probably blue. I've always liked the blues. Besides, I've got the Kano beard, so I might as well get a blue one, right?
That's true. That's
it just
true.
makes
I'm going to
sense.
be getting a blue for my. I'm going to be getting a blue for my initial color as well, but using the Ahsoka,
Nice.
silver, the Ahsoka crystal.
A yellow blade. I don't know. I can use a yellow blade. But yeah, this is mine. I'm very happy with it. The parts that I wanted to get were, I think they're called power and control. They are the like dark metal, more brutalist looking, like a bunch of sharp edges and angles. It's kind of blocky.
Yeah,
that's the saber that I want.
Yeah.
They do sell
I
a
gotta
white
buy my
crystal
crystal.
separately. Yes, at Savi's little workshop. You know what? This feels kind of weird and sacrilege just to open this, but I want to show you guys if I can even get it open.
Not
The
that
force,
sacrilegious.
the force is kind of stopping me from opening this right now. That's crazy. Oh my goodness!
It looks like the reality stuff.
It does kind of. So the minus. There we go. I was opening the wrong end. Here we go. There it is. My corrupted kyber crystal.
It's like a little infinity stone. Yeah, dude, I want to build one so fucking bad.
It's a hell of an experience.
It's
a hell of an experience. Not just the buying of it, not just the building of it, but like there's a whole like thing that happens in that room. It's like a little mini performance. No, it's really awesome. And I did it at the perfect time of day too. I did it right after the sun went down. So when I went outside the room and turned it on, there was like the perfect amount of ambient glow. It was like it had become more bright than the sun around me.
It's such a pretty purple, especially if you put the blade in it now too.
That's
bro. Also, because of fucking Tales of the Jedi too, bro. Like the fact that we're getting blue Jedi. Oh god, everything like part of me wants, like, god damn it, I want a Dooku saber so bad now. Like, oh my god, like Shatterpoint. Fuck, man. Like my wallet is just gonna be hurt.
Look at that.
Can't see it. Frozen. There it is.
Look at that purple right there. It's just a nice basic glow. Wow, it's really white on the webcam.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of flickering there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it changes color a little bit, which is interesting. I think that means that it's not all the way screwed in, maybe. I've never put the red crystal in here. I've just never done it. I feel like it's going to be like a significant moment when I do it.
Interesting. So does it take batteries or do you like have to plug it in?
I don't know if it takes batteries, and maybe that's why it's getting a little dimmer. I've never recharged it or plugged it into anything. I'm pretty sure it just operates with the force. You know, it binds it, connects it, makes it grow, makes it glow. Yeah, it's bright enough on camera that it looks like a real blade coming out of there.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean you got a black kyber crystal?
You can get a black kyber blade?
What? Yeah, like what did that look like? Like, what do you mean? Like, was it a custom, like off of Etsy black kyber crystal, or like does Disney sell a dark crystal? Because that would be fucking cool. That'd be pretty dope. That'd be really.
I would be tempted to take
it. Yeah, if it ended up coming out as a dark.
Cool Dooku Anakin parallel. That's both get in the same ship from the same hangar. Both fly over to Palpatine and both kill a master before their actual turn. Huh? What do you mean by before their actual turn? When is it their turn to kill their masters? I see what you're saying though. That is kind of a cool parallel, showing that like all the proteges of Sidious are kind of walking the same path. A path that Sidious has kind of plotted out for them. Didn't even bother to make it different.
Oh, well, I mean, 100%. Maul called him out. Like, Maul called him out on that shit, like, Siege of Mandalore.
Yep.
Like, as soon as he started getting arrested, like, he started crazy man spouting out of, like, we're all gonna die! We're all gonna die! None of you know what I know! Yeah, no, he straight up, he was there for it. And then
okay.
you buy the random one.
You
you'll
can
get
only
black.
get so the black saber is only graced to people who seek out the red kyber. They're kind of implying that it has a dark property to it.
That's fucking cool. But what does it do to the blade, though? What does it do to the lightsaber blade? Does
I
it
want to
still,
see. I want
does
to
it
see
still
the
come
black,
out as a
black
red
blade.
blade? I know. I need to like Google or YouTube search this shit.
For sure.
But yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'll post a photo on the Discord. Okay.
Oh,
thanks.
I want a wayfinder.
The blade is still red. Oh, cool. The blade is still red, but
the crystal's black. Okay.
That's very Wesley Snipes. I appreciate that. It's very Blade. It's very Blade. If I ever got that crystal, I would call it the Daywalker, 100%. Done and done. And we would have to give it we would have to build a hilt like Katarn's current hilt. And I would call it the Daywalker, 100%. That's so fucking funny.
I like this hilt. It feels basic to me.
That's
Blade's. Really like
that's Blade's hilt. Yeah, well, it's your apprentice hilt.
Yeah, for sure. And there will be another one.
But yeah, I want to build
Airbender.
I want to build a fucking Airbender hilt, best friend. So yeah, July.
Yes.
July comes around. So if you and Hera are gonna come down here, let's fucking do it.
Absolutely, we're gonna make it happen.
I have to talk to my friend because I know that she's going out of town at some point in July. But yeah, no, we'd have to make it. We'll figure it out.
So, also in the news, mostly today, is some lovely, ridiculous gray Jedi discourse started right back up again. And now this is kind of a loaded thing to bring up on the Dork Forces podcast, because the two hosts of this podcast are diametrically opposed when it comes to the concept of gray Jedis. Why don't you tell them what you think, Bendu?
So I believe that it is possible to be a gray Jedi. Do I believe in the internet created, made up gray Jedi force code that you can find on Pinterest? No. I think that it is, I think it is a very fake code.
I call it
100%. But wait. Do I call myself a gray Jedi? 100%. Do I think that the Jedi and the Sith are stuck in a dichotomy of he said, she said, sort of my side's better than your side sort of bullshit? 100%. I believe that the Force is its own essence and we are purely its interpreters, and the Jedi have their doctrine and the Sith have their doctrine, but it is still completely possible to be like the Keeper of the Wills are not Keeper of the Wills, but like what Chirrut
Guardians
was.
Guardians
you know,
of the
the people who Guardians of the Wills. Like you can be Force sensitive and not be a Jedi. Or like the Night Sisters, for example. You can be Force sensitive, like you can dabble in dark side shit, but that doesn't make you a Sith. You know, like there's plenty of things that you can do. Like just because you can throw lightning doesn't mean you're a dark sider. Like Jolie Bindo, I fucking love Jolie Bindo because he's great. He walks away from the council and he was like, I'm not a politician, I'm a monk, which is fucking great. In forget which comic it was. I think it was one of the Vader comics where Vader, as he like first gets turned into Vader, he like has to fight that one Jedi who ostracized himself so that he could be better connected to the Force. Yeah, like that dude, great Jedi, 100%. Why? Because he doesn't believe in. Well, that too, but like he didn't believe in the not industrialization, but like he didn't believe in the indoctrination and like the churchism that was the Jedi. He's like, no, I'm just gonna listen to the Force. I'm just gonna worship the Force and be a servant to the Force. Boom, that's it. That's all it should be and what you're supposed to be. And like even Ahsoka, like if you use a saber, if you're trained as a Jedi, but you don't call yourself a Sith and you don't call yourself a Jedi, you're still a gray Jedi. Like, good on you. Like, does Ventress get the title of gray Jedi? No, because Ventress never called herself a Jedi.
Because that's my point too. You think Ahsoka is a gray Jedi? What stops her from?
She called herself one.
What stops her from being a regular?
She doesn't
Jedi?
follow a code because
She
she
doesn't
doesn't follow a
code?
code, or she doesn't follow the code. She doesn't follow the code.
Okay.
She doesn't do.
okay.
She doesn't wear robes. She's not a priest. She's not a nun. You know, she's allowed to have sex and fall in love and have fun.
Okay,
Like she believes
sure.
in the expansion of what is. Like
Let
Luke,
me ask you this: what
Yes.
dark side stuff does she do?
none.
Then how is she in the middle? How is she in the
Because
middle? She's
she's
still
in the
100%
middle.
light side. That's my whole point.
Because
When
she
you're a
still
great Jedi,
does.
you got to be in the middle, and she doesn't do anything
Not
centrist.
necessarily.
100%. She does everything that the Jedi Order do. She just doesn't organizationally like associate with them. But that doesn't make her gray. Making you gray is when you're like the light and the dark are the same, and I should let evil flourish because there is balance. That's what a great Jedi does, and that's not Ahsoka. She's a Jedi. She just doesn't want to call herself one. That's what I
I
think.
wouldn't say you should let evil flourish, because Jolie was definitely against slavery and was definitely against like the Zerka Corp
Yes,
deforestation Kashyyyk, and
you don't
like,
have to get your own morality and principles from like the Force religion that you follow.
exactly. So Jolie Bindo is just as much a gray Jedi, and he didn't do anything evil. The only thing that theoretically evil that he did is if you ignore the mini mission of like his friend got accused of murder in that hotel, and you're supposed to do some Law and Order shit. And I always skip that mission. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like,
Turns out you kidnapped yourself, man. I could get you a tow.
yeah, I'm not supposed to. I don't give a shit about like doing Law and Order shit on a water planet with Jolie Bindo.
think
But he didn't do anything evil, you know.
He didn't do
So,
anything.
like-
evil. No, that is true. That is true. I think the only reason that Jolie Bindo exists as a gray Jedi, the only reason they gave him that story is so that they could give the players of KOTOR the option of multi-classing and of dabbling in both force trees, light and dark.
But the thing was, like, you don't get a benefit. You don't get. There was no.
Well, it's not about benefit. It's about customizing the loadout. You know, of what force powers you want to use, and that works in a video game. But that doesn't really work in the galaxy because force powers have inherent negative and positive spiritual attributes. If you're using lightning, that shit is evil. That shit hurts to use.
Bro, okay,
It's
wait,
rooted in the dark side.
okay, if we're
It's
gonna
rooted in the dark side.
Okay, hold up, bro. Okay, wait.
That I can do it if they want,
Are you
but they
saying
choose
all
not
the
to do it.
firebenders? Are you saying all the lightning benders? Hold up. Are you saying all the lightning benders in Korra are therefore evil firebenders because they're
No,
using
because
their
that's
lightning
Avatar:
as,
The
like,
Last
fucking
Airbender, and that's a
power
completely
bender?
different franchise, and that's not. I'm not putting that analogy on Avatar
This-
at all. I'm
this
keeping
lightning-
it within the
I
Force.
can't,
right now.
yeah, I
Because
can't
that's
say
not-
lightning
because
is
no,
lightning.
that's not the case for firebenders. But when it comes to using the Force, you like a Jedi could do lightning if they wanted to, but they choose not to because it's rooted in the dark side, and that's just like spiritually and ideologically, that's what they're opposed to that. But if they wanted to, they could do it.
Or
But
it's
it
just
hurts.
super raw.
It's evil. It's corrupting to use it. That's why Ray is so fucking horrified as soon as like the lightning comes out of her fingertips and she blows up the transport that she thinks Chewie is on. She's like, "Oh my god, what did I just do?" It's more than just like "oh, that was lightning, oh my god," which anyone would do. It's like that was dark side that I just naturally did. Like it's a very troubling thing. So I don't think that you can be a gray Jedi. I think the concept of what people refer to as a gray Jedi exists in Star Wars, like unaligned Force users. But you can't say gray
Yes,
Jedi
unaligned
because
Force.
Jedi is only one side of the spectrum. You know,
It's
like,
true.
it's an
This is true.
oxymoron to say you're a gray Jedi. It's like, no, you're not. You're not anything Jedi. You're a gray Force user. Because to say that you're a Jedi means that you
Yes.
belong to the Jedi. And if,
This is
and if
true.
Ahsoka's trying to distance herself so much, why would she call herself a gray Jedi?
Literally speaking, yeah.
Yes, it's completely a grammatical
doesn't.
thing
She
that I'm
just
getting
says
hung
that
up
she
on
is
right
a Jedi.
now. But that is
It is a
my
very grammatical thing.
that's my hang up with the concept
Versus
of a
the
gray
Force.
Jedi. Yeah, exactly. It's like saying a gray Sith Lord. What is that? and I'm getting into semantics a lot. Like I think that you can exist and be a Force user.
So
and
like
not
a
have to
gray.
subscribe to one of these
Okay,
two
I got
ideologies.
you. Wait, I'm gonna answer your fucking question. I'm gonna answer your gray Sith Lord question because it's very easy. Gray Sith Lord would be the old man that we saw in Visions season 1. Because he wasn't part of the Sith. He said the Sith could go fuck themselves, but he's still doing evil shit and still trying to make himself immortal and killing Padawan children just for the fun of it. Like,
So what did he do that was
Gray
light side?
Sith Lord.
So we're still all
Nothing.
the way over on Sith. how do we get him to the middle to make him gray? Because everything you said was
Because he's
dark
not part of the Sith Empire. He's not
Then what makes-
associating himself with the Sith.
Then
anymore.
where's gray coming from? What about him is in the
He's
middle?
not
of the field?
associating himself with the larger group. That's
But
the
that doesn't make him a
grayness.
good person. He's still a shithead. He's still all the way over here.
Yeah.
You need, if you want
That
to be
has nothing
gray,
to do-
you need to do something dark side and something light side. And he's not doing anything light side. So he's
No.
still 100% dark. So where does gray come in? Gray is the mixing of white and black, but there's no white coming into this mixture. It's all just still black over there. That's what I'm saying. Like, gray doesn't mean like a free agent. It doesn't talk about your political affiliations. It
That's
literally
what the
talks about your
internet is
spiritual connection
using
to
as
the
the
Force.
cognition, though. That's what the internet's trying to say, and using the word gray as to insinuate.
They're trying to say gray Jedi means they walk their own path, but that's not what a gray Jedi is. Just if you look at the words,
No,
a Jedi,
technically they're
to
wrong.
be a Jedi means to go this specific path, you know?
Yeah. No. If they
And they're
had, so if they
ministerial
created
rules.
a specific word, like how in the Japanese, like Ronin is a very specific word for like a masterless samurai, masterless warrior.
Right. He just wanders and sort of just does
Or
missions.
someone who got kicked out of their club,
Sure,
of their
an
warrior
exile,
club.
pariah.
So if
Yeah.
there was an Orabesh word for Ronin, or if there was a conceptual word for Ronin, that would be the more appropriate term, because it could therefore go on both, could represent both spectrums of like a good dark side user or a light dark side user and a dark good side user. Because if you want to do like, yeah, because Mace Windu would be like a dark light sider.
Well, see,
Or
that's
Luminara could be like would be a dark light sider because she's so
kind of what I'm
fucking
saying is that like he's not dark.
good.
He's not dark. His personality has some edge to it. But like when you talk about someone's gray
He's an
status,
authoritative.
you're talking about their spiritual relationship with the Force, and it doesn't matter if they're a jerk or not. It's about more than just like, because I think people often misidentify a morally gray traditional Jedi as a gray Jedi. Like,
Yes.
I've heard people say that Qui-Gon Jinn is a gray Jedi. I'm like, just because he says fuck the council doesn't mean he doesn't clock in at 9 a.m. every morning and go do Jedi stuff for the Jedi Order. Like, he's just a little bit of a curmudgeon, but that doesn't make him a gray. That just makes him kind of morally, he has his own code of ethics outside of the Jedi code. But it takes more than that, man.
Yep.
You're still a Jedi.
Yep.
Jedi are on this side.
Which is why
Sith are on this side. And if you want to be gray, you got to be in the middle.
Which is why Ahsoka is kind of there. Okay, so here's the quote unquote.
But that's my question again. What dark side stuff does she do? Yeah.
She gives herself to attachment. If we're gonna, so by the Jedi Council's standards, by the religious standards, the thing that Ahsoka does that is dark side is she's giving herself to attachment, and she's giving herself to the Cortez sisters. She's giving herself to Bo-Katan. She's giving herself to things that, you know, she shouldn't be thinking about because she should be letting go of her earthly attachments, according to Luminara. But at the same time, like, the Jedi Council has been put into such a strong, harsh political position that, like, as a young Padawan, she was put in charge of its own half of the 501st Legion. Like, you know, like, that was kind of Qui-Gon and Dooku's thing of like, we're monks, we're not soldiers. Like,
right.
Why are we doing this? Even some of the clones had issues with it. Like, wasn't there a couple of Marvel comics of like clone, or maybe it was Dark Horse. Like, there were a couple of clones who were like really pissed off. They're like, why are we getting assigned to these like teenage Jedi that we're supposed to call general, and they've never seen a fucking battle in their life?
I mean, let's face it, I'd be pretty
then-
pissed about that if I was a clone too.
Right? Like you are trained as a soldier and have all this battle experience, and then you're just given to some teenager who's like, okay, I want you to run towards those battle droids, and I'm going to stand behind you and just, you know, try to help you with the Force. Like, fuck that. Like, what? Like, no, get out of here. But yeah, no. So in the eyes of the council, Ahsoka's gray because she gave herself to attachment, and she walked away from the academy.
Yes.
She hung up her abbot. She hung up her abbot is what she did.
She did.
Versus
She walked
Qui-Gon. Yeah, she walked away, which versus Qui-Gon, who just bitched.
But here's the thing. I think that she returns to the Order.
So he's not gray. He's not gray. He's just.
I think Ahsoka returns to the Order. She did it after all the other Jedi were dead, but she returned. I don't think she stays a gray Jedi. I think she is representing what she has always believed the Jedi ideals should have been.
So do,
And
are
yeah,
you, so
maybe-
do you think she technically returned when Luke rebuilt the Order? When, like, theoretically, like, she was...
I think she
in
returned
order
during her
and
adventures post 66,
dropped
which
off
we don't
Grogu?
know about yet.
Oh,
But
post 66? When she's doing her Ahsoka
I
the
think
White
that
stuff?
she had a moment of realization that, like, wow, there are so few Jedi in the galaxy left, and I am one of them. Like, I
That's
had my
true.
issues with the Jedi Council. The Jedi Council is dead.
Doesn't
Like,
exist anymore.
it's a fresh start to remake the Jedi Order in the way that she believed it always should have been,
True.
because of her teachings, because of the wholesomeness of Plo Koon, and the skill and the cunning of
true.
Anakin, and all of her masters
Right,
together.
that's Plo Koon.
Yeah, fucking A. Plo Koon's amazing. They wanted to shoot.
Plo Koon was the
saw it as an
Captain
opportunity to
America
create a better
of the-
Jedi.
Plo Koon was the Captain America of the Jedi fucking Council. Like, he was the peak, and then Luminara was just the fucking... She was... What was that bitch from Midnight Mass who was the nun? Or the sister? She was... Luminara's that bitch.
She was great.
She-
Yeah, you hated her so much.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Like, I still feel bad for Barriss, but at the same time, even Barriss, like, you shouldn't have framed your girlfriends, man. Like, you
Barriss
shouldn't
wasn't
have
great.
framed.
If anything, Barriss became a Dark Jedi.
Barriss wasn't great. Oh no! I'm not calling Barriss great either. She was a domestic terrorist by all means, but
A Dark
just
Jedi
saying,
is any Jedi that
like,
falls to the dark side. You know, the Inquisitors are Dark Jedi, for example.
Yeah.
They're not Sith; they're Dark Jedi.
100%.
I have yet to see
100%.
a convincing example of a gray Jedi that was an A, created for the sole purpose of allowing a player to multi-class in a video game, or B, like a character that we know, that we have seen willingly commit both dark and light acts. I've never seen that. No one's ever been able to show me that, which means that all of the people that we are considering gray Jedi
Revan
are
count?
actually just unaligned light side Jedi that don't belong, that don't like have a name tag and go to the Jedi temple every day for work. And like you were saying,
I guess
there's
that's
so
Revan.
many Force religions out there.
Because Revan's created as a video game character to do that.
Exactly. Revan could do that because they were like, it would be cool if the player could choose all
He
these
was a video
powers.
game character.
But if you try and take
Yeah.
that out of a video game and extrapolate it and put it into the actual like live action universe, it doesn't quite like translate just because of the spiritual nature of Force powers. Like, I don't know how you can shoot lightning, do some dark side
fucking
stuff,
shit.
and then be
Okay,
like,
so
I'm
perfect
feel
example.
good, you know?
Yeah. Okay, Starkiller. Fucking Starkiller. Force Unleashed. Straight up God of Lightning, Raiden, special abilities. I'm going to Force Lightning my fucking lightsaber and then just, God of War slam that shit. Would Starkiller call himself a gray Jedi? Fuck
I don't think
no.
he'd call himself
Would
an
he call
anything
himself a
Jedi.
Force?
I don't think he'd call
He would
himself
just
an
call
anything
himself an
Jedi.
apprentice. Right?
He's at no point was Starkiller ever a Jedi of any kind. And
he turned good though. He
Well,
started the rebellion and he
I mean, that
and
doesn't
Ram
matter.
Koda, Katarn, Ram
Let me-
Koda turns him
Let
good,
me tell
right?
you something,
Like,
Bendu. Let me tell you, whether or
so
not
that's so like yeah.
Starkiller joined the light side is the least of the problems with Starkiller being put in the canon. Like, that's not even on the top of the list of the issues with this character trying to like fit into the universe. Like, jeez.
And then there's part two. And then there's part two where he's like an upset force sensitive clone in love who's just like killing his other force sensitive clone selves to try to find his pilot girlfriend. Like, yeah, there's a lot with Starkiller. He's just an angry force baby.
See, the whole thing
He's
about the
just-
dark and the light sides is that's also an ongoing discussion. Is the force truly balanced when there are both Jedi and Sith in equal number, or is the force balanced when the Jedi are in control and the Sith have been wiped out? Or is the concept of balance at all, just in general, a Jedi construct? Do non-Jedi force users like the Guardians of the Wills, etc., view the force as balanced when there's no Sith? Do they give a shit? These are questions that I have that haven't really been definitively answered. Is like, does balance mean the Jedi win, or does balance mean we're literally balanced and there's 1,000 Sith and 1,000 Jedi?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
what is-
I'm thinking about that.
And is there
too,
no
of,
such
does
thing as balance, but the
equal,
Jedi
like,
created
lack
it
of
to?
conflict?
It could also be the Jedi's justification for continuing the holy war against the Sith, because honestly, that's what it is. It's a holy war between two religions that's being fought over thousands of years. My cat scratching at the window. Hang on one second. I'll be right back.
Well, the issue with the Sith, right, is the biggest issue with the Sith, right, is their their egotism and their superiority complex, right? Versus the Jedi who are just either just wanting to not even them, they weren't even necessarily like pushing their doctrine or trying to indoctrinate more and more people of like, oh yes, come join our Force religion. It was definitely more so just like, hey, if you're sensitive to this thing, let's teach you how to, use the Force correctly, or I guess in a more safe, constructed manner, versus like you just going around choking people and electrocuting people just because you're angry. So like, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's a idea of your Charles. So, okay. So I'm thinking about it this way while you were gone. So kind of like the Charles Xavier. Okay. So like the Charles Xavier Magneto sort of argument, right? So it's like for the Sith, I think the Jedi had an issue with the Sith because the Sith were like, oh, we have access to these powers, which means we are naturally more superior than everything else in the universe. Therefore, we need to have superiority over these things. Versus, which like, if they just went off and like, yo, I want to become the most like dark fucking wizard of all time. And like, I want to, dip my sword into like this Sith alchemy fucking potion thing. Like no one fucks with Dathomir witches. They're off doing their own things with their cauldrons, and like making potions with like fucking Dathomiri bat blood, and they're doing their own shit. They don't have superiority. What?
I said Dathomiri magic. It's not light or dark. Dathomiri magic. It's its own.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything is truly gray, it would be Night Sister magic. Honestly.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
Completely removed from the construct of Jedi and Sith.
Because they also recognize the necessity. And so what's cool about Vision season 2 with Journey to the Dark Head was like they really emphasized that nihilistic aspect, and they really emphasized that message and that metaphor that you need both sides of the coin in order to have a coin in the fucking first place. So you need like you can't have a light without a shadow, and you can't have a shadow without something putting off light from somewhere. But it's the moment that you try to indoctrinate your own will on other things that it becomes a fucking issue. I think that's what the Jedi with
both the Jedi and the Sith constantly.
Yeah,
and that's kind of one of the tenets of any religion is imposing your will on someone else. That's how you create more followers.
Yeah, versus like the father, the mother, or the father, the daughter, and the brother, or no, daughter. Was it sister? Was it father, sister, and brother? It
was father, son, and daughter.
It was just son and daughter. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like brother, sister. It was like they were, but it was son and daughter.
Like, they were brothers. Their names were son and daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mortis was very damaging to the Star Wars discourse. As cool of an episode as it was, I really think a lot of people got the wrong idea from that about how the Force works. Yeah. Because it made it much more mysterious and confusing, which I like. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, or the Yoda episode where he's talking to like the
fates. There's like 7 of them.
The fates, the 7 fates, bro.
Like the masks with the different emotions. Like
yeah, and they were more connected to the living Force, but they weren't actual like corporeal beings themselves. Like there's so much cool. Like there's so many expansions and levels of like connectivity, and like I think that's what the great what should be. It's studying that, is what I think Grey Jedi should be really emphasizing is like your connection to the living Force, but versus like the dichotomatic pull of like, oh, do you want to be super powerful and throw lightning out of your fucking fingertips?
It's easy and it's quick. Oh yes, gratification. Come over to the dark side.
Yeah.
This book
versus like, hey, no.
Traitor by Matt Stover from the New Jedi Order has an excellent discussion about the nature of the Force and light side and dark side. So Jason Solo is trapped on Coruscant, which has been terraformed by the Yuuzhan Vong, and he has a discussion with Vergir, who is basically a Force sensitive being, about the fact that there really is no light and dark side, and there is just the Force. And he is a Jedi character embracing this knowledge, and it does kind of put you in the middle, but that's a different thing than becoming a gray Jedi. I think to believe that there is no dark and light side is to shed the mantle of Jedi completely. and now you're just a Force user, you know? So all of these people that are out there talking about gray Jedi this and gray Jedi that, I think if they just said Force user instead, I would have no problem with what they're saying. But trying to store it under the umbrella of what it means to be a Jedi in the Jedi Order, it's not gray. It's just not. You're not in the middle. If you think you are, you're still on the light side extreme. To be truly gray, you have to embrace dark side and light side and use both actively. And like all the examples are one or the other, you know? Like Jolie Bendu is the perfect example, but he was created specifically. But he was created specifically for this purpose, you know, to show that the player.
Even my RPG character, even Narset.
It was a gameplay thing.
Yeah, even Narset. Like Narset's the perfect example of she's technically not a gray Jedi because Narset's still following she's still an employee.
The Jedi Praxeus.
She's still an employee of the Jedi Council. But because she was raised by witches, like she has a different understanding of like she has a different indoctrination to like what the Force is and the idea of what it does. But like
Narset Jin is what would happen if Marin went to the Jedi Academy at like 15.
Yeah,
that's basically
Marin
Narset.
is so fucking amazing. Yeah, like there's nothing inherently evil about Marin, and she's a fucking badass. Like she's who's a gray Jedi? Marin's a gray Jedi, but not even she's a witch. But yeah, no, I think you
know what? There you go. That is a statement that I would agree with. Marin's a gray Jedi because, like I said, people that use Night Sister magic are separate from the light and dark side as the Jedi and Sith comprehend them. It is the same Force. It's the same big mystical energy field, but the way it's manipulated by the Night Sisters is different and not inherently light or dark. It's outside of that dichotomy for sure. So yeah, Marin might be the only correct answer that I can think of, and even then, like there's nuance there where you could say that's not correct either. But yeah, I think
because it's like whatever.
I think that it would be very helpful for the discourse if they actually like defined it clearly. But I also really like that they haven't, because the Force should be mysterious, and we shouldn't be able to just hand wave and be like, "Oh, this is how it works," you know, like. We don't need to know on the scientific level how the Force works. It should be magical. It should be mysterious, and it should be unknowable and unperceivable to us because we're not Jedi who devoted our lives to studying the mysterious aspects of the universe. It feels a lot less like grandiose if us with our little human brains can understand it in its entirety. You know, there needs to be some parts that we just can't quite perceive in order for it to be this cool, magical storytelling device. Great Force user.
For all we know,
sums it up. That's what you say. That's what you should say anyway. Great Force user. Because Bendu, you and I really do agree. We have the same idea of what this thing is. We just don't agree on what to call it. You know?
Yeah.
All about the
Great Force user works.
Yeah, Great Force user versus Grey Jedi.
Like if I could throw lightning, I would fucking throw lightning. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like if I could just like manipulate the atoms between my fingers and just create sparks, are you fucking kidding me? You would expect me not to play with lightning? Like, or if someone was having a heart attack, like I would totally pull a Thor and like force shock that pacemaker. Like, why the fuck not? You know, like, does that make it evil? No.
I would use Force choke on that rooster that wakes me up every morning. Just be like from my
Force
bed.
choke on the chickens? Yeah.
just to knock him out. I wouldn't kill him. Just like go to sleep.
Yeah.
But that's because we're not good people, Bendu. We're not virtuous Jedi Knights. We are no Genotateros. We're regular, normal, flawed human beings, and that's okay. That's okay.
We're easily entertained people.
Yes, we are a little easily entertained sometimes, but you know what? It's all good. My saber's not turning red anytime soon. Over that.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah. So in conclusion. The gray Jedi debate is roaring again, and it's not likely to end anytime soon. It seems like anytime that the phrase comes up on Twitter, like it all just like kicks off again, and everyone is so entrenched in their positions, and so am I. I'm no different there. I don't think that gray Jedi it works as a concept. It doesn't work as a name. Get Jedi out of there, and now we can talk. Because every example we're trying to show you of a gray Jedi is actually just a Jedi who's a little morally gray. Spiritual alignment.
Jolie Binder doesn't call himself Jedi. Now that you bring that up, like Joe Lee doesn't even talk about a Jedi. Call
No,
himself
he
a
doesn't.
Jedi.
He's an
you go through the
unaffiliated
fucking
Force
menu
user.
Yeah, he lets you see him fight fucking Kath hounds with a lightsaber, and then your character asks him, "Oh, you used a lightsaber? Are you a Jedi?" And this fucker, he's like, "Well, how about you go talk to those Zerka Corp people, and then I'll tell you if I'm a Jedi or not." Like
Yeah,
this
right.
motherfucker. He
Go
like,
kill those
yeah,
bastards.
no,
Yeah.
Jolie knew how to play the game.
In my mind's eye, he's
same with
still
the
naked because my KOTOR game glitched when I played through it for the first time, and like Jolie, I'd switched his clothes
that
out, and then he was just naked. Didn't matter what he was wearing; he was just wearing like a
Oh.
diaper, running around for the whole game. So he was definitely a gray Jedi. He
Or
had a
like,
lot-
okay, so unfortunately,
going
this
on.
is another video game reference. But
Okay,
unfortunately, another gray Jedi that you could insinuate would be what's her butt from KOTOR, the Cathar that you have to save because she gets all butthurt because she turns dark side because she attacked
right?
your master. Yeah, like because so she was a Jedi and then she like had a brush with the dark side and
She
then
was
you
a-
could
she was
either
a dark
kill her
Jedi.
or convert her back to the light side.
But that
She what?
doesn't leave her gray. That leaves her either dark or light side Jedi.
That's true because she's still getting paid by the Jedi Council. You're fucking right.
And
She's
the
still,
thing
yeah. She tried to take herself out, and then she
being
came back.
conflicted doesn't make you gray. It just makes you conflicted.
Yeah, that's fair.
Every
That's
light
fair.
side Jedi have moments of doubt, have moments of like temptation from the dark side that they have to overcome. And you can't say that because they experience those moments that they are now gray. In fact, the overcoming of that, like Juhani from KOTOR, if you help her come back to the light, she's more light than she ever has been before. She becomes a paragon of light side. And if you don't, she doubles down and becomes super dark Jedi. But at no point does she never retain a little bit of both sides at any point. You know, she's either going to be a whole bunch on that side or a whole bunch on that side. Yeah, no, yeah. See, it's tricky. There is no such thing as a gray Jedi. If you're a Jedi, then you're over here, or you're a dark Jedi and you're over there. But yeah, Ahsoka. I don't think Ahsoka's a gray Jedi. I think Ahsoka is just a Jedi who's a little morally gray.
She's a great Force.
But that's not the same thing.
I think you're definitely right that she drops the title currently while the council is still alive.
Right.
Pre-66, right?
Well, they're still
she drops the title
if you will.
pre-66. Exactly, right? When they're still in session. And then once everyone's dead, and then the only proper Jedi are the ones that, you know, are actually keeping the code, like then she kind of, you're right, she does sort of take that word, she does kind of take the word back. But because the only time she says I'm no Jedi is in the Siege of Mandalore. It's not like in Rebels. Like she calls it.
No, she says it in Rebels.
Jedi
She says it in Rebels at the Twilight of the Apprentice when Maul says revenge. When Darth Vader says revenge is not the Jedi way, and she says I am no Jedi.
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, so she's still even to that point, she hasn't taken the title back. So she probably doesn't. Yeah, so I think so. Like I think you're right. She must take the Jedi title back either after Vader dies. Like maybe she takes the Jedi title back when she like meets Luke, and like sees that, you know, Luke's building this new thing as what it could be and what it should be. She takes the word back.
Ahsoka, believe it or not, is not an authority on who she is. She struggles with her own identity during that time.
That's true.
So even though she says,
even
I am no Jedi, it's not true. She might think that of herself in the moment, but if you look at her actions and the choices that she makes throughout her entire life, she is a Jedi. She embodies the spirit of what it means to be a Jedi to the point where she doesn't even recognize it in herself. She's like, I am no Jedi. But she absolutely is.
And like, girl, you still button your shirt the way a Jedi buttons their shirt. Like, yeah, like, girl, you're still wearing you're still wearing the same shoes. Like, 'tis true. That's fair.
Yeah. No,
but she's not getting paid. She's not getting paid. She's not an employee anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. She's not organizationally on the roster, but that doesn't stop her from being a Jedi, in my opinion. If she wants to truly be gray, she's got to do some dark stuff. And like having edgy
Or just-
one-liners in the dialogue does not count as doing dark stuff. Like they add darkness to the personality, but not to her spiritual makeup as a Force user. So she's still 100% light side, in my opinion. She's just a Jedi who doesn't want to call herself a Jedi, but that's denial. That's her being in denial. She's walking
That's denial.
Dude,
Okay.
she's walking the
So
Jedi
then-
path. She's walking it throughout her whole life. That's all she does is goes from place to place.
So then is the dude? So is the Jedi? Well, I just called him a Jedi now. So is the Force user that Vader had to fight when as an apprentice and like kill to get the crystal to bleed the crystal? Would you say that dude is in denial because he was just straight up like, because didn't he say that the Jedi are wrong and I'm here just to serve the Force, or like I'm here only?
You're talking
to, like,
Dagon. You're talking
strengthen my
Dagon Gera right now, bleeding his crystal, right?
Yeah.
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 He became a dark Jedi. He became a
became
dark.
dark?
Jedi. Yeah. He was never gray. He was light. Then he fell. Then he was dark. He didn't go.
No, not the dude in Jedi and Jedi Fallen Order, and the dude that Vader fought.
Oh, you're talking about Infila.
Gray skin.
Yeah, Killick Infila.
Yeah.
That's who Vader bleeds his first crystal with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, in Marvel Comics. No, he was. I mean,
Yeah.
he was physically gray Jedi, but he was a Sith Hunter. Was his whole job, and so he was like a special sect of like war Jedi whose job was only to find and eliminate the ancient Sith threat. And the reason he lived in isolation was to like have the most like nice attuned spiritual connection to the Force that he could without interruptions, but also to keep his mind clear and just sort of like wait for the threat to reemerge. Like he came from a long line of Jedi whose entire function was to kill Sith, and they were to lie in waiting.
Yeah, so like even
until
he's a murderer. So does that make him since he's a murderer, since he's a hitman for the Council, does that make him a gray Jedi?
No. Again, it makes him a morally gray traditional Jedi. That's the way.
So
That's the way
he's
that
just
I view it, anyway.
A gray Force user then, or so yeah. So does he still keep the? Would he still keep the Jedi title then, or would you say he's kind of the only one that fits the criteria of a gray Jedi because he's still doing some dark shit because he's killing hella people, or his whole job is to kill people?
I think that he is doing some things that dabble in the dark side quite a bit, but that is part of the nature of what it means to be a Jedi, is to actually do that, to tackle the dark side, and actually use it from time to time. Not use it, but like come face to face with it and resist it, And as a Jedi hunter, that's Infilah's whole thing, is every time he has to kill as a Sith hunter, every time he has to kill a Sith, he has to wrestle with the dark side repercussions of that. So he probably has some pretty fantastic constitution. Like his constitution saving throws are probably pretty insane against dark side corruption. That's what I think. So there are angels, demons, and the gray are humans. To expand the concept, and humans are Force users, not Jedi or Sith. I mean, I could see that. I could see you using that allegory as well, but I would say that even unaligned Force users have a sense of like morality within their spiritual like connection to the Force as well. And they have a concept of light and dark side, and they don't do certain things because it is inherently like a sin to their beliefs as well,
Oh, that's true. That's true. Again, going back to Vision season 1, where the one of your favorite episodes with the blade colors, and we see the one dude who like literally gets a purple blade because like
yeah.
Red,
ninth Jedi for season 1. Sweet.
Yeah, and the girl like calms him down, and like you get to see his saber colors slowly go from like fucking crimson to like blue to purple. Like that was pretty fucking cool. Of like, and then he like apologized.
Agreed.
Which was like a little silly. It was like, I was so influenced by the group around me. Like, really, dude? Like, either A, you're a weak ass Jedi if you allow your mind to be manipulated by the mean girls and the popular kids that you were hanging out with. Like, it was you.
No, man, it's all about the
people.
Yeah, it's all about the
What
force.
was I say? Peer
you know?
pressure.
It's
That's the
real.
phrase.
It's real. It really brings
This
people
fucking
down.
this big beefy like monster looking dude of a Jedi is like, yeah, I got peer pressure to be evil, and then he gets a purple blade. Like, I don't know.
I
The
thought
episode
that
was still
probably
really
my
fucking
favorite
cool
of these.
because like even the mech, like, but like that kind of like conceptually though, visually, like even the mech and like the good guy. Even though at the beginning of the episode, both of us were like, "Oh, this dude's evil as fuck. Look at this robot. This robot's got red glowing eyes, black metal with gold trim. This dude's totally evil." And then he ends up being the fucking like goodest of the good.
They judge
He
him
ends
by
up
his color.
like just Willy Wonka. He just Willy Wonka's that shit, and he's like, "Yes, I am the Master Jedi, and I was the one that put in the commission work for all the new lightsabers. We got to destroy all these Sith. It was a trap all along." You're like, "Oh my god!" Like. That episode, goddamn. But
Yeah, no, that was excellent.
Okay.
Well, we're just about out of time, and we did not even get to our discussion of Jedi Survivor, which is fine. Bendu hasn't finished it yet, or Shatterpoint, which I want to get some information on too before we actually dive into that too, because I don't really know enough about like the release, when it's coming, how to get my minis, stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This has been a great discussion, mostly about Great Jedi, turns out, but also just about the things that are happening
it's
around the
good
place.
for us to touch bases on.
Yes, absolutely.
It's
you know,
it's a good discussion piece. It's a wonderful discussion piece, and it's something that needed to be put
So that we can
into
contributing our
the
thoughts to
ether. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. That's all we got for the Dork Forces podcast this week. Catch us every Tuesday at 7 PST, where we will be discussing the various happenings of the Star Wars world. And next week, we'll be talking about Shatterpoint at Jedi Survivor. By then, Bendu will be done with the story, and I will have done a little bit more streaming on it, most likely. I've finished the game, though, so I'm pretty much ready. I'm just going to gather my thoughts now so we can have a nice, good discussion about that. Yeah, I'm so glad that everyone had a good time with the discussion today. Yeah, I am really happy about the awesome community that we've built here. All of you guys watching the show every Tuesday really make it worth it for us, and we appreciate that. Cool. All right. Well, have a great night, everybody. And as always, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Don't electrocute
Jar
people.
Jar.
Don't electrocute people? Is that what you said? Come on. They can do it if they
force
want.
lightning.
They can do it if they want. Let people make their own choice.
And they use something they call pyroprocessing. The interesting thing is they call it pyroprocessing, but it's a molten salt process. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt, and they're doing electrochemistry on it. Why don't they call it molten salt? They want no association with molten salt.